famous China treats.
Shanghai feels empty now. Not the kind of emptiness you notice at midnight, but the kind that hits you on a Friday night at 8:30 p.m. when the city should be roaring. I used to come here on weekends and could barely squeeze through the crowds. Today I stand still, not because I want to look around, but because there's nothing to move through. In places where you once couldn't throw a stick without hitting someone, now there's only a security guard and a shop owner staring at each other. This is the area around Oriental Pearl Tower, once the postcard image of China's prosperity. The tourist center that used to overflow with people is now silent, hollow, almost unreal. Walk a little further, and the silence follows you. In Tangtown, in Pudong, traffic used to crawl all day long. Before the pandemic, this place never slept. Now the roads stretch out clean and empty, like a movie set after filming wraps. Then there's Nanjing Road, a name that once meant crowds, neon, noise, money. Tonight, there are barely any people. It's not a weekday afternoon. It's Friday night. Where did everyone go? 10 years ago, when I first came to Shanghai, you lined up for everything. Restaurants, shops, even convenience stores. Now the city feels like it's holding its breath. The wind cuts through the streets, making the emptiness even louder. I remember flying out of Shanghai Pudong International Airport in 2009. Back then, traffic jams were normal, delays were expected, and crowds were unavoidable. Today, the roads are smoother than ever, but not because of efficiency, because there are fewer people using them. Even locals are starting to ask questions. If Shanghai, the so-called Modu, can feel this empty, what does that say about the rest of the country? Recently, I went to the city god temple. Strangely, there were fewer people than in 2018. Back then, you could barely move. Now, most of the people I saw were quietly shopping, carrying bags, walking without energy. It hit me then. This isn't just about tourism. This is about confidence. Shanghai has changed. The city feels poorer. Not loudly, not with chaos, but quietly, like a slow leak no one can stop. On Yishan Road, there are no cars. Along the high-speed rail line, entire rows of buildings sit dark and unused. Inside a high-speed train carriage, seats are empty. Business travelers, once the lifeblood of routes between Shanghai and Shenzhen, are gone. It's hard to imagine how heavy the pressure must be for people to stop traveling altogether. When even first-class cities lose movement, something deeper is wrong. A blogger recently documented northern Shanghai, including areas inside the inner and outer ring roads. The footage shocked people online. Shopping centers near People's Square, once sacred ground for trendsetters, are now shells. In the early 2000s and 2010s, almost every young person in Shanghai knew these places. They were the original check-in spots, long before social media made the term popular. Today, shop shutters are pulled down, entire floors are empty. It feels like time stopped, but rent and pressure didn't. 10 years east, 10 years west. That saying has never felt more accurate. Shops that struggled back then are still struggling now, but even successful ones are falling. And this isn't just Shanghai, this is a preview. On a Sunday afternoon at 4:30 p.m., commercial streets that used to buzz are nearly silent. Many stores have already closed. Doors are locked. Signs reading, "Shop for transfer" and "For rent" are everywhere. People are leaving. Don't come to Shanghai, some locals now say. Don't come chasing old myths. Who keeps calling this place a land of opportunity? Even residents struggle to afford vegetables, fish, and shrimp. Some have started fishing for themselves. The river looks clear, but there's nothing in it. Locals say the fish are gone, caught one by one. Meals are getting lighter. This isn't a lifestyle choice, it's survival. Look at the physical economy. Streets that once had waiting lists for shop rentals now can't find tenants at all. Landlords lower rents again and again, but still no one comes. Entire blocks are empty. Restaurants are silent. Even food delivery, once the last refuge for the unemployed, is drying up. Some people lie flat in dormitories all day, jobless and exhausted, unsure how long they can hold on. Since 2020, the external environment has taken a heavy hit. Foreign investment has pulled back sharply. Many companies canceled plans or moved out entirely. Office buildings across the city are half empty, or worse. Even subways during rush hour no longer feel crowded. Around Hongqiao, where airport, rail, and metro converge, office occupancy in some buildings has fallen below 30%. Property managers admit only a handful of companies are actually operating. Street vendors feel it too. A rice noodle seller said business has never been this bad. People still need to eat. So why has consumption collapsed this much? In places like Huinan, rental homes once packed with migrant workers now sit vacant. Near Songjiang and Juting, small restaurants that depended on factory workers are barely surviving. The loss of people is real, and it's accelerating. Some live streamers say the commercial world has collapsed right in front of major stations. Huge malls in southern Shanghai are on the brink of closure. They're massive, modern, and empty, more merchants than customers. Even central districts feel fragile now. Since the end of 2019, capital outflows and population loss have reshaped the city. A former foreign executive who spent over 20 years here said the atmosphere reminds him of the years before 1949, when people fled to Hong Kong. Today, many wealthy Shanghainese are quietly leaving for Tokyo, Singapore, Europe, or the United States. It's not the poor who are leaving, it's the middle and upper classes, selling property and taking capital with them. Even a visit to Shanghai Disneyland reveals cracks, people arbitraging discounts, reselling goods, chasing small profits just to get by. Things you wouldn't expect in a city that once symbolized endless growth. This is Shanghai now. Bright skies, cold markets, clean streets, empty hearts. The question is no longer whether the city has changed, but how much more it can lose before the silence becomes permanent. China's economy is sliding into a deep recession that can no longer be hidden by official slogans or selective data. Factories across the country are shutting down one after another, orders have evaporated, and production lines have gone silent. Large numbers of workers have been laid off, with many unable to find new jobs for months. Some migrant workers, after losing factory jobs, can no longer afford rent and are forced to sleep on sidewalks, under bridges, or near industrial parks. What once was called temporary hardship has now become a widespread structural collapse. Unemployment is spreading through every layer of society, especially among young people and blue-collar workers. Graduates send out hundreds of resumes without a single reply, while middle-aged workers are quietly eliminated by companies cutting costs. In many industrial zones, factories that once ran day and night are now locked, rusting, and abandoned. Workers who stayed behind wait in vain for back pay, compensation, or reopening notices that never come. The fear is no longer about earning less money, but about having no income at all. Even first-tier cities like Shanghai and Beijing are sinking into serious recession. Office buildings stand half-empty, luxury malls lack customers, and once crowded business districts feel lifeless. High rents, shrinking salaries, and mass layoffs are pushing people out of these cities rather than drawing them in. The myth that big cities can absorb unlimited economic shock has collapsed. When capital retreats and jobs disappear, even the strongest cities begin to hollow out. Across the country, the signs of depression are everywhere: declining consumption, collapsing confidence, and a population trapped in survival mode. People no longer plan for the future, they focus only on getting through the next month. Factories fail, workers scatter, cities empty, and hope quietly drains away. This is not a short-term slowdown, but a long-term economic contraction reshaping China's social structure. What is unfolding now is not just an economic downturn, but a systemic crisis with no easy exit. China's economy has entered a phase of deep recession that is no longer cyclical or temporary, but structural and systemic. Factory closures, mass unemployment, shrinking consumption, and collapsing confidence are happening simultaneously, reinforcing one another. Even the strongest growth engines, manufacturing, real estate, exports, and first-tier cities, are all failing at the same time. What we are witnessing in China is not a slowdown that policy tweaks can quickly reverse, but a broad economic breakdown driven by debt overload, capital flight, demographic decline, and the loss of both domestic and foreign trust. This great downturn is reshaping Chinese society in profound ways. Workers are losing jobs, homes, and dignity. Young people see no future. Businesses stop investing, and cities quietly hollow out. Consumption collapses not because people don't want to spend, but because they no longer dare to. When factories shut down, workers sleep on the streets, and major cities fall silent. The problem is no longer economic data, it is human survival. China is now facing a long and painful adjustment, and the real cost of this depression will be measured not in GDP, but in lost years, broken lives, and vanishing hope.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.